Hi, and welcome back to Psych with Mr. Snyder, and today we are going to finish up Chapter 11 and discuss the identity formation stages of adolescence and the challenges of adolescence. So let's go ahead and get started. Here are your learning targets and subtargets included. Analyze how psychologists view identity development, so we'll talk about mostly Erikson. We'll explain what identity status is and identify the 4 stages. We'll analyze the role that gender and ethnicity play in identity formation. And we'll summarize the problems that adolescents have to face, such as eating disorders, substance abuse, sexuality, and crime. So Erikson is a personality psychologist and a kind of a humanist. And he maintains that the main task of adolescent stage is searching for an identity. So that's the whole reason you're out there. You're trying on different hats, you're trying different roles, different identity relationships with others, different groups of friends, and you're trying to develop a commitment to a particular role or occupation in life. You may choose one general occupation, or you may combine a lot of different roles and occupations into your identity achievement, which we'll get to that in a little bit. Adolescent identity is achieved when different selves are brought together, and that's kind of what I just said, but an identity crisis is a key aspect of adolescent identity development, and it's not anything bad. It's just when you examine your values and what you really find important, and you start to make changes and decisions about your life roles. And it's kind of when you can consider someone to be growing up. Here is the 3 stages of identity status, and identity status is like what role, what stage are you in while you're searching for your identity. See if any of these are familiar to you. Identity moratorium is when you are delaying important decisions, in making commitments to things, not answering important questions because you think it's too soon. Identity foreclosure is when you've made a commitment on something and you're trying it out and you're not sure if you want to do that for the rest of your life, but you are trying on you refuse to try on other hats, so to speak. You're just sticking with that one. Identity diffusion is kind of the opposite of that. It's when you are trying on different hats. You're constantly changing identities, and because you're searching for a meaning in life, and you try this one, that's not it. You try this one, that's not it. And so you're constantly searching for a new one. And then we finally have identity achievement. These are the people who have coped with crises, explored different options, committed themselves to occupational directions, and made decisions about key life questions, marriage, children, such as that. Most people don't reach this at 18. Most people don't reach this well into adulthood. Gender and identity formation. In identity formation, research shows that females are now more apt to approach identity formation like male adolescents, since we are more equal than we were 100 or even 200 years ago with women in the workforce. But female adolescents do express concern about the challenge of having a family and that maternal instinct that they have, and also balancing a work life, a professional career. And sometimes women have to do both in order to find that identity that they want and identity achievement. Ethnicity is complicated for minorities from different ethnic groups. Prejudice and discrimination against those people can be contributing factors, but you're also trying to become an American, so to speak, like an American identity, but maybe you are being pressured from your parents who are not from America. There's lots of different things that can go into it, but it makes it more complicated for somebody from a minority group to find their identity as a teenager. Now let's summarize some of the problems and eating disorders. I'm sure some of you are familiar with these through health classes and biology and stuff, but anorexia nervosa is self-starvation and literally a distorted image in your mind of what your body looks like. This typically affects young white women of higher socioeconomic status. You see this a lot at colleges, anorexia nervosa. Bulimia nervosa is binge eating and dramatic measures to eliminate food, such as purging. And obviously, a great majority of sufferers are female, but there are male sufferers as well. Anorexia and bulimia affect males whose occupations depend on their body image, like wrestlers or models. And males are sufferers as well, although females are generally the ones that suffer from this. It is influenced by cultural and social perceptions of norms, because it's what the media puts forward as what a female should look like, and so females strive to do that. But a lot of times the media image is unrealistic, and so females may think that they personally need to take a greater risk in order to look like that. And treatments, there are counseling programs, there are treatment programs, and even monitoring programs, monitoring how much food a person eats and making sure that they do not eliminate the food from their system. Here is a definition. Symptoms of eating disorders may include excessive dieting and exercise, excessive weight loss, and obsession with food. Substance abuse. It rose during the 1990s, and the use of cigarettes and marijuana decreased from 2001 to 2007, although they are on the increase again. And especially prescription drug abuse is also very, very much a problem in our society today. Peer recommendation, parental use of drugs, and stress are among the reasons that adolescents try alcohol and other substances. Treatment includes detox and counseling therapy with a counselor about what they are doing, the reasons they're taking it, and let's get to fixing the reasons behind the drug so they won't want to do it anymore. Here are the definition of substance abuse. It may be linked to genetics, but the environment also plays a role, so nature, nurture, both are in there. Symptoms and behavior. Sexuality. It's kind of a double standard here, because you're receiving mixed messages from, number one, your bodies and the media are saying go ahead and try it, but at the same time, trusted adults and parents are advising against early sexual relationships. So it's kind of difficult to know what to do, and teenagers are confused. About 7.2% of American girls between the ages of 15 and 17 become pregnant each year. And teenage pregnancies are obviously difficult for adolescent mothers. They're more likely to have a baby that has low birth weight and a premature baby. And half of all adolescent mothers quit school and will end up on welfare. So that is one statistic not to have a baby early. It is the number one indicator of whether or not a woman will end up on welfare. Did she have a baby when she was a teenager? Here are factors contributing to teenage pregnancy: problem relationships, emotional problems, problems in schools, the sexual themes in the media loosening a girl's prohibitions, peer pressure, and even lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is scary about how a teenager can get pregnant. It seems like common sense, but still some people don't know, or they believe in myths. And finally, we have crime. The term juvenile delinquency refers to many illegal activities committed by children or adolescents. The most extreme acts include robbery, rape, and homicide. So when these acts are committed by a teenager, they're known as juvenile delinquent. A less serious offense is known as a status offense, because it's only illegal when it's committed by minors, which is not going to school. That's an example of a status offense. Curfew. Staying out past curfew is a status offense. Some factors contributing to crime are low self-esteem, behavior problems that began and were not corrected early, lack of affection in the family, lacks discipline, use of severe punishment physically at home, and academic issues, peer pressure, family history of criminal behavior all play into whether or not a teenager will take part in a life of crime. And that is all I have for you today. That's the end of chapter 11. Next, we'll begin to discuss adulthood. So early, middle, and late adulthood after being a teenager. So very good on chapter 11. Fill out those learning targets, and I'll see you in class.